Hi, this is Mark Desimone. I'm the CEO of Aegate, the leading medicine verification service provider in Europe. In the next few days and weeks, you'll be called as national associations to make a decision upon which service provider to implement your medicine verification system. In a previous video, we've discussed how Aegate eliminates for you both the financial and the implementation risk because of our extensive experience, our 7 years of operating 20,000 dispensing points across multiple European countries, and our 99.998% performance. Today, I want to focus on the Falsified Medicine Directive itself, and specifically on the topic of an end-to-end system. In the legislature and in the Delegated Acts, it is very clear that the demands on the national provider is to ensure that the medicine verification process occurs without having any impact on the workflow of the pharmacist, meaning that when the pharmacy scans the product, that the response needs to be within a quarter of a second, within 300 milliseconds. This performance must be guaranteed by the service provider. Now, if the service provider does not have an opportunity to measure this performance can never be guaranteed. In the case of Aegate, we have worked so that our integration with the medicine suppliers, patient medication record suppliers of the pharmacies or the wholesalers are tightly integrated into the repository to ensure both the quality of service, to ensure that there is security, and to ensure that there is an ability for us to monitor on a consistent basis the performance of the system. This is what we have learned over 7 years of operations and 10 years of experience. Now, not doing this will not allow the service provider to measure the performance of the system, because you will not have the ability to observe the performance from the pharmacist's endpoint. In order to measure it from the pharmacist's endpoint, there needs to be a piece of the service that is actually lodged at the pharmacy, patient medication record company, or the wholesaler. Now, if you don't do this, what will happen? Well, it's very clear. If you don't do this, then all of the pharmacy software providers will have to somehow interact with the repository. By interacting with the repository, they will write different processes and procedures to ensure quality, security, etc. Therefore, the implementation will not be a homogeneous implementation in the country, but will be very heterogeneous, it will be very different. The messaging that will arrive at the pharmacist will be very different because each will choose its own way to display it. Last but not least, the ability to know the performance metrics, the service level agreements, will not be able to be done. And therefore, you'll really never know what performance you're getting. But more importantly than all of these, when there is a problem, and there will be many problems occurring, like the internet going down, like the pharmacy scanning twice, like 2 different patient medication record companies introducing a new release of their software, what will happen is that you'll have calls because the system doesn't work. And because the system is not in the patient medication record system of the pharmacist or the wholesaler system, but it is in fact the service provider, the calls will go to the service provider, will be unable to respond if there isn't a full end-to-end system to what are the causes of the problem. More importantly, the service provider, if it's not linked to an end-to-end total system, will say, hey, it's not my problem, my service work, my database responds fast enough. The truth of the matter is, a database can respond in 10, 15, 20 milliseconds. The real issue is, can you ensure and guarantee performance when you start having the internet access from the pharmacist to the repository? And that's what we guarantee. We guarantee as Aegate that the performance of the system from the moment the scan occurs at the pharmacist to when the pharmacist receives the message back is within a tolerance of 300 milliseconds. If you cannot have a service provider guarantee that, that means that the service provider will not be able to ensure that the country meets the tight regulation on the Falsified Medicine Directive. We've had this experience for the last 10 years. We scan over 2.5 million codes a day in 20,000 dispensing points today. So therefore, our experience is very consolidated. If you want to understand how this works, please contact us, spend some time with us, and we will ensure that you understand that the only real choice that is today in front of you is Aegate. Everything else will be confusion. Thank you very much.